Right, next up, Ben, we have Arena the Contest.
Yeah, so you might remember that we talked about this a while ago on a Weekender as a news piece, as a prospective Kickstarter. Now, this is by Dragori Games, and this is a tactical miniatures board game for 1 to 8 players. So it's got a solo element, which is always cool to see. This game can be played in 2 different game styles. You can either play this PvP, where you all get stuck into an arena and you battle it out, or you can play it as a cooperative dungeon crawling adventure. Yeah. There is also PvE in the arena as well if you wanted to throw in that kind of thing into the mix. So what you'll do when you set up is you'll choose heroes, and then you'll build yourself a customizable arena. Now, the arenas themselves come with a basic floor, and then you'll add the elements on top of it. So this could be the addition of traps, this could be terrain elements, and all those kind of different things like that, as well as the different choice of enemies. And then what you'll do in a singular session is you'll sit down, duke it out with your heroes, and see who comes out on top. The big thing for me, though, is when it comes to the PvE side of things. And this is where you can play this game a little bit like a role-playing game, kind of a bit like what we've been talking about with Gloomhaven so far today in the show. So what you'll do with this is you'll choose your different characters, and then you'll go through a series of linked campaign scenarios and play through these as a group, delving down into the arenas and the dungeons that you've been setting up in slightly different ways, and telling a little bit of a story and delving into the narrative of the world. Now, there's some fantastic looking characters in this that have been thrown in there. So there's one guy that's a werewolf, which is pretty awesome. So that should appeal to you there, Warren. Absolutely. But then you've got all kinds of typical looking fantasy characters as well, and then going into slightly more different things too. So you've got a fallen angel, there's the wizards and the hunters and witches and all those kind of things. The thing that really got me with this is that it kind of appeals to that sort of area of sort of tabletop gaming where maybe you're sitting there with a big group and you've been playing through the same thing loads and loads. So, for example, Star Wars Imperial Assault or Descent. But then a couple of people can't make it and they're like, oh man, we can't even carry on with our campaign. Well, this game kind of solves that, because what you do is you, instead of just carrying on with the PvE side of things, you sit down, you still get to play the game, but you just do the PvP variant instead, which I thought was a really cool idea. The characters themselves break down into a bunch of different classes. So you've got brutes, tacticians, tanks, healers, shooters, controllers, and bruisers. So anyone who's familiar with MOBAs might see some sort of parallels there. And the whole mechanic behind the game is very much card-based. So you'll have a whole bunch of cards that will activate your different actions that you do on the tabletop, and then you'll use a very familiar D20 to resolve all of your actions against the enemy's defenses. And there's a whole bunch of modifiers thrown in there as well, and obviously you'll have environmental effects going on at the same time as too. The miniatures are looking really good for this. One of the big things and one of the selling points I talked about is that a massive dragon that they've got part of this collection. But yeah, it's a fascinating looking game, and if you're interested in the idea of doing a whole bunch of different things with the same system, this seems like one of those interesting melting pots of ideas that you can go and check out online. So yeah.
See, I think this, Warren, is great for you. Because it's, I don't know about you, but I am getting total vibes of Hero Quest from this, just for the way you lay out your boards and stuff, and the way the mechanics actually work together. One of the cool things, if I can find it,
it has doors as well, and doors always get me.
But you either have door standees, or if you go for the next pledge up, you can actually get physical doors.
You want the resin doors or the plastic doors, absolutely. Every single time, you want the fanciest flipping door that you can get.
Okay, one of the interesting components for me is, you see on the game board, this outside track is, I believe, how you actually track the health of each of your heroes.
It is, yes.
So everybody can very easily see, oh, who's the weakest, who am I going to stab in the back to finish them off? I've also seen within the video you can actually knock people into the fire. If you're playing like the Minotaur character, you can charge through them, bash them into the lava. So I mean, like, there's some
I've got to say, the game itself appeals to me immensely. The weakest part of it is the game board for me. I think it would be great to see some additional design and stuff like that go into the game board, because I'm loving all of the components. I'm loving the miniatures. The dragon's fabulous. But the weakest aspect of it for me would be the game board at this stage.
You have this preset one for your arena fights, and then you have the more custom one. Which is, I know, if you had this sand texture on the blank one, I would be a lot happier, I think.
I don't know. I think I probably just got to see it. I probably just got to see it. And with all the wall bits and pieces down. One of the things about Hero Quest, for example, was the fact that, you know, with the 2.5D dungeon that it effectively was, once you put your furniture and your doors and stuff on it, it really did, for a young mind, it really did just pop to life. You know, but that was then. You got to go beyond that now to get the same kind of effect, because you got your Dwarven Forge guys and all those are doing amazing things. So these guys and anybody doing a dungeon crawler these days, you know, the board is crucially important. You know, you've got to get the boards looking.
It's your canvas
looking
for
right.
Your world. Simple as that.